how to share. Okay, good. Learning how to share the screen so you can sing along to I Release and I Let Go. This was a request by Rob and Morgan, and I see they're not here today, but that is okay. So we have share the screen. Is not showing up?
No, the words aren't showing up for anybody. So
Maurene, up at the top it says launch meeting. X that out. Okay, now toggle. Go Alt Tab and pick the screen with the word.
It says I am screen sharing. Well,
go up ahead and the shared screen.
Okay.
Sure you just sing the song and we'll move on, okay?
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much knows the words to this anyway. We're going to start off with I Release.
Share screen. Right there.
Somebody talk?
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to start off. Here we go.
Microsoft Word.
Okay, I hope you can hear the piano, everybody. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I seal the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release.
Thank you, Richard. Now we're going to hear from our tradition of the day. Maurene.
Okay, so let's close our eyes and feel the presence of spirit, the presence of unity, connection, and oneness. Know that the I am that I am, we are that thou art, is interconnecting with each and every one of us individually and collectively this morning. All those that are here on our Zoom, all those that are not able to be here. Just feeling that connection and that oneness and that unity and that togetherness in and of and through each of us. And I know that this talk today by Maurene and the practitioners of the day is just absolutely perfect and represents the great oneness and unity of the message today. And so I know with the music and all of us participating that this is a truly beautiful morning. And I simply release this into the divine law with gratitude in my heart. And so it is. This morning, I'd like to read a little short passage by Louise L. Hay. I am a divine idea expressing through the one mind in harmonious ways. Everything I do is based on the one truth, the truth of my being and the truth of my life. Divine right action is guiding me every moment of the day. I say the right word at the right time and follow the right course of action at all times, and I am part of the harmonious whole, as we all are. There is a divine blending of energies as people work joyfully together, supporting and encouraging each other in ways that are fulfilling and productive. I am healthy, happy, loving, joyful, respectful, supportive, productive, and at peace with myself and with others. And so let's just take a moment to reflect on this beautiful passage of unity and oneness. And so let us come back here into the Zoom room together and read the October affirmation. The power is within me, is God, and it blesses and heals all who come near it. Silently the work goes on, and silently all are being helped. By the inner power which is operating through me, I give thanks that the power within is silently blessing and helping everyone to whom my thought reaches, and so it is.
Thank you, Relaine. And now I believe Richard has a song for us.
Yes, I do. Yeah, this month, this theme of togetherness, being together, and joining. We're much stronger that way when we share and we're our true selves. Uh, this week I had a chance to talk to George Doc Metz. Remember Doc Metz? He and his wife. I talked to him on the phone for a while. He sends out CDs every once in a while, and he's at least 90, and he's pursuing his passion. And I also talked to Al a little bit, And this song came up a few days back from Stevie Wonder. It's called "I Just Called to Say I Love You," and I'd love to do that song right now. Okay. I just called. Hope you can hear it. No New Year's Day to celebrate, no chocolate-covered candy hearts to give away, no first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, it's just another ordinary day. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I will say to you. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Da, 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 da. I love you. I care. No summer's high, no warm July, no harvest moon to light one tender August night, no autumn breeze, no falling leaves, not even time for birds to fly to southern skies, no Libra sun, no Halloween, no giving thanks to all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is, though all so new, to fill your heart with like three words could ever do. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, of my heart, of my heart, of my heart. I just called to say I love you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Okay, how's that? I don't hear an echo. So I'm going to once more figure out how to share a screen. And today we're going to be talking about, it's the end of October. And like Richard said, the theme has been one of us coming together. And earlier in the month, Michelle talked about divine community, sharing the dream, how we're stronger together. You might remember the story of the sticks, the bundle of sticks, how we're all stronger when we're together. And this Sunday, she's visiting her daughter. So I'm going to be talking about the theme for today, which is I'll meet you there. And this comes from a poem by Rumi, which I'm going to share with you on the screen. And Jim is going to put it in the chat. It says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. We have a typo. And what this means to me, and I'm sure it's different for everybody, but for me, I know Michelle has talked about a field, a quantum field of possibilities. To me, I actually see this field as heaven within. And I see that as a point where when we are truly in unity with the divine, there's no each other. We're all one, and we feel that sense of total love. Now, I've been there before, but I don't always stay in that place. So I want to talk about how do we get there? How do we get to that field? And what is that field? It's different to everybody, but I believe this higher state of consciousness is what we're called to be. Now, CSL had one comment that they have Psalm 121, which talks about, it says, I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Now, what this says to me is I lift my eyes. I don't look down in the mire and the dirt and the mud that I'm stuck in. I lift my consciousness up and I look to something greater than myself. I look to the supreme, the one, the divine, the higher consciousness to allow me to rise above. And a similar version of a similar thought, Psalms 23, and most of us know that, the Lord is my shepherd. Well, it also says that even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. So the operative words are, I will walk through. I'm not going to pitch a tent. I'm not going to get stuck in the duality. You're right, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, you're right, whatever. You walk through it. You don't walk around it and avoid things in life. Just go into it. And this brings us a step closer to the enlightenment, the evolution that we're looking for. It's interesting this week. I have to kind of laugh, but I overheard a comment about those conservative chicken eaters. I thought, what? I had heard somebody comment about, those liberal tofu eaters, and I've heard people talk about, well, when I was little, Robert and I were raised Catholic and we ate fish on Friday. And people had words that they called us like mackerel smackers, or we had language there. And some people say, well, you're conservative if you eat steak. Hey, I like a good steak. When did food become political? We need to get out beyond that duality, that right doing, and get out to where we belong. I wanted to mention a book that I'm reading. It's a book by David Rico. It's How to Be an Adult in Relationships. And I've been taking a class from Reverend Kevin Bussey. He has the church, the CSL church there in Hillcrest, and he required this book for his class. So it's an amazing book. It was a slow read initially, but I really got into it. And the author teaches 5 steps. He calls them 5 steps of mindfulness. And the mindfulness is, it's a Buddhist, terminology. And David apparently is a Buddhist, but he talks about attention, focus your attention. And the same thing Ram Dass talks about. I've been reading one of his books on walking each other home. Focus your attention on the person. Now, this can be a loved one, this can be a total stranger, but focus. Be the last person to speak. Listen to that person. Accept them. They are the divine in human form, and you're worthy, they're worthy. So acceptance is a hard one. He has the 5 A's. The other A that he has is appreciation, gratitude. Remember, the divine is in every person. So give gratitude. Thank that person. And affection. Speak kind words only. Have you ever felt the power of prayer? When people pray for me or I pray for others, it to me is the greatest feeling of love possible. Now, I don't use the word I love you, but I am sending affection. I am sending love to that person through that prayer. And the last thing he talks about is allowing. The divine is flexible. So we have boundaries. We allow other people to be themselves. So maybe we have to start a conversation with someone we feel is very different than us and do the 5 steps: the attention, good listening, the acceptance, accept them for the divine, they're worthy, you're worthy. Appreciation, appreciate somebody who's different than you. Give affection, pray for that person, show them that you care. And allowing. And remember, when we allow, when we give to another person, we are putting the law of circulation in motion. As we give, we receive. Remember this week, I know this last month, we were talking a lot about giving to other people, giving anonymously, giving in all forms. And we could talk about that in the chat after this, but this puts us into that mode of givingness. I wanted to mention that Ram Dass, you don't have to be dying to read his book. You can be living to read his book. But his book is really walking each other home. Well, how do you walk someone home if you don't come to that place of understanding, if you don't come to that place out beyond time and space, out beyond right doing and wrong doing? You're meeting another person's soul to soul. And that's really what it is to be with someone, to really be, is to feel that and know that. So Ram Dass also talks about the highest and greatest being you can be is to open your heart. And if you're with someone who's making their transition, talk to them about opening their heart greater and greater and greater. Open your heart to love, because the more love you embody, the higher your consciousness. When I was in India, the last time I was in India, I worked with Mother Teresa, and I've told this story before. She taught me several things, but the 2 things she taught me was pay attention to the person you are holding or being with who is making their transition. Working for the Sisters of Charity, it was hospice on steroids. The first day you land, you come in, you say, I'm a volunteer, and it's like, okay, hold this person while they die. It's like, whoa, I don't speak Hindi. I can't change anything. I can't feed them. I just have to be there. Like Ram Dass talks about being a rock, just be the rock, but pay attention, use your eyes to send love. And we can do that. We can use our eyes to send love to everybody around us. The chicken eaters, the tofu eaters, the steak eaters, I love all food. But Mother Teresa also taught me that we're all divine. And this woman, who was a low caste person, was no less divine than I am, or a Brahmin. We're all divine. So I wanted to just mention, let's see, I have a quote. I wanted to read a quote, two quotes. I figured this out again. Thank you for bearing with me. Here's the Science of Mind quote. We need fear nothing in the universe. We need not be afraid of God. We may be certain that all will arrive at the final goal, that no one will be missing. Every person is an incarnation of God. And he says, I love that he says, we may be certain that all will arrive. We're all going to arrive. And I included another quote, and this is for some of us who are celebrating Dia de los Muertos, because you may think, well, is my loved one going to arrive too? Are we all going to get there? Yes. He says, it is human to grieve over the loss of dear ones. We love them and cannot help missing them, but a true realization of the immortality and continuity of the individual soul will rob our grief of hopelessness. We shall realize that they're in God's keeping, they are safe. We shall know that loving friends have met them and that their life still flows on with the currents of eternity. We shall feel that we have not lost them. They have only gone before. So we will all arrive. We will all meet you there. Just remember, it's all God. Thank you. I'd like to turn it over to our next speaker, Leslie Massopust.
Probably one of the most prolific self-help promoters of today is a young man by the name of Vishen Lakhiani. And he's written a book called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. And his company that he founded is called Mind Valley. The book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, was the first book that he ever wrote. And it went to the #1 New York seller the day the publishers released it. And in his chapter, Rewrite Your Models of Reality, there's a quote from Tony Robbins, and it says, our beliefs are like unquestioned demands, telling us things of what's possible and what's not possible, what we can do and what we can't do. And they shape every action, thought, and feeling that we experience. And as a result, changing our belief system is central to making any lasting change in our lives. One of the first things he tells us is our models of reality lie below the surface. Now, often we're not aware of this because, let's say we're not aware of it unless we have something like an intervention or a contemplating awareness that happens. And we know this below the surface is the subconscious mind, and where we've instituted that programming that we have. And sometimes unknowingly, with our thoughts and feelings and actions. I know when I was growing up in childhood, and if there was something that I did that my mother was upset with or said, she would have a phrase that she would issue. And I know I thought at the time, if I ever have kids, I'm never going to say that to my kid. So I had my kids, and guess what? Lo and behold, I heard verbatim the words that were coming out of her mouth. And my thought to that was, whoops, I guess we need to work on that one. So, but what's so neat about all of this is when you change your model of reality, you also change the world that surrounds you. Now, we often carry disempowering thoughts from childhood that we've inherited. And this is nothing new to us, okay? But what happens is we sometimes continue those practices without thinking or questioning why they happen or how we accept them or how they were given. It's like the story of the turkey at Thanksgiving time that was cut in half and cooked in 2 different pans. So, you know, grandma did it, mom did it, and guess what? This year it's our turn to cook the turkey. And we're thinking about this practice in the family that's been done and wondering, I don't need to do this. I can cook this in 1 pan. Plus my oven's only big enough to cook the 1 whole turkey at a time. I don't have to do it that way. So you realize that just because things have been done a certain way over time, that you do not need to continue to do them. Now, Ernest Holmes has a quote in page 302 of The Science of Mind. And he tells us, begin to blot out one by one all false beliefs, all ideas that man is limited, poor, or miserable. Refuse to think of failure of your own power. See only what you wish to experience and look at nothing else. Now, I know we've all had experiences of change of thinking that we could share. And one of the things he says in the book is extraordinary minds have models of reality that empower them to feel good about themselves and are powerful in shifting the world to match the vision in their minds. What's happening now is we are playing on a new field that's being created. And we're in a time where there is a greater vision that's being created. I know Reverend Michelle has mentioned Dr. Teresa Bullard because she's been taking some of her classes. But she wrote a book called The Game Changers, Social Alchemists in the 21st Century. And she says, as we shift into this age of conscious evolution, we are taking a leap from separation into integration. To carefully make such a shift, we must go through an alchemical process at purifying and raising our existence to a new, higher level of being. I feel that this is what we do in the science of mind. That science of mind is one of the biggest game changers that we can have in our lives, at least so far. This is the field for all of us to be playing on. I'll see you there. So be it.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Yes, and we have another treat. Robert Brown is going to talk to us.
So, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? If you can't, do something. So I'm going to speak about a broader theme. Maureen talked about that field out there that Rumi mentioned in his poem. I'm going to talk about the broader subject of going further together, which was the monthly theme for CSL this month. And Reverend Michelle has talked about various subtopics of that theme as the month went by. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And then Mother Teresa, one of Maurene's favorite people, had this to say, I can do things that you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. Now, certainly, if we pursued a solitary spiritual life in a cave in the desert, it would be in an entirely different feel than our community spiritual life within One Heart, One Mind. Maybe we could get to enlightenment faster. I sort of doubt it, at least based on my experience. We often say in Science of Mind that life is about choices. Well, I choose to believe that not only can I go further in my personal spiritual journey in communion with all of you, but I also think that there's a slight imprecision, at least in the African proverb, because I firmly believe that I can go faster also. I can go faster and further together with all of you fellow travelers on this spiritual journey. And that's what our fellowship in One Heart, One Mind and our common study of and dedication to the Science of Mind principles and practices is all about. But what does going further really mean? What does going further together really mean? To me, the answer is very simple. It means recognizing and embracing unity. I know you kind of get tired sometimes of hearing about unity, but it is the single most important aspect of our belief system. Remember, the first two steps of spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer are recognition and unification. We begin spiritual mind treatment by recognizing that there is only one spirit, one God, one power, one creative mind, one consciousness, and one presence. As Ernest Holmes says, one, one, one. Once we've acknowledged the one, we express our unification with it, which is the second step of spiritual mind treatment. Now, I ask myself, is it even possible for me to walk the path to an elevated state of consciousness alone? Well, based on my personal history, I don't think it is, because I spent probably 45, 50 years as an agnostic until in 2014, I was introduced to Science of Mind. So the clear and resounding answer that I get from that still small voice within me is no. No, with a capital N-O and bold-faced type. And why is that the answer? Well, that's also very simple. Because I am never alone. I am one with the universe right here and right now, and so are each and every one of you. Remember, there is only one mind. That mind is God's mind, and that mind is my mind now. That mind is your mind now. Each and every moment of our lives, we are together within that one mind, and we are traveling that path to enlightenment together within that one mind, no matter how different we might be individually. Ralph Waldo Emerson famously stated that a weed is simply a plant whose virtues we haven't yet discovered. Well, there's many weeds that I happen to like a lot. So does it really matter whether I think of myself as a humble weed or even a tumbleweed? And you think of yourself as a rose, a daisy, an agapanthus, or a lemon tree? Does it really matter? There's a story that Ernest Holmes used to occasionally put a bouquet of weeds on his dining table while he ate dinner to remind himself of the sacredness of all life. We know that all life is sacred. We know that weeds are just as sacred as flowers or fruit or vegetables. And we know that each of our lives is sacred, no matter how different we might be one from another. As Ernest also says, you are an eternal being now on the pathway of endless unfoldment, never less, but always more yourself. Life is not static. It is forever dynamic, forever creating, not something done and finished, but something alive, awake, and aware. There is something within you that sings the song of eternity. Listen to it. So I say, yes, we are individualized expressions of the divine, but we are not alone. We are never alone. We are traveling the pathway of endless unfoldment together. Let's listen to and sing that song of eternity together. We are indeed going further together. Let's all find joy in that journey. And I'd like to end by asking you to repeat after me several affirmations. I am one with spirit. I love being one with spirit. I am an individualized expression of the divine. And we are going forward together to greater and greater expressions of ourselves. My life is full of potentiality. My life is full of joy. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Leslie. Beautiful. We're all different and we are one. We all have different interpretations and it's all one. So thank you. And let's see, next I'm going to share the screen. I believe this is our time for giving. Let's share that screen. Now we have several ways to give at One Heart, One Mind. You can do Venmo. You can send a check to Jim Massopust. And Jim, do we have any other methods? I know I have used Tithely in the past. I think there's a fee for Tithely, but this is our ways to give. And what I'd like you to do now is to take anything that, like if you pay by phone or if you pay with a checkbook, to take that and put that against your chest, your heart. And I want you to repeat these words. So just take a deep breath and just know with me, divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give thanks that this is so, and so it is. Thank you, God. Okay, we have a closing prayer by Lisa Lazaro.
Oh, not yet. We got to have the announcements.
Oh, that's right. We always skip those. All right, thank you. Is that you, Leslie?
Yes, it is. And this next Wednesday, which is the 3rd, at 5 o'clock our time, we are going to have a guest presenter. And it's Dennis Merritt Jones, who wrote the book, The Art of Abundance, that we just finished in our Tuesday night class not too long ago. So you can go to Venmo and make your donation for the class or send a check. And with either one, if you would please note that it's for his presentation. Just write fundraiser in there so that we know it's not part of the regular donations. And then on Monday at 6 o'clock on Zoom is our group prayer that we do in support of the center and all of our members, and in fact, everyone in the universe. So that is a very empowering time to spend together. So as I said, join us on Monday at 6 o'clock. And then on Tuesday, Relaine and Reverend Michelle are giving a class on how to personalize your practice. And I know that Reverend Michelle has requested this be at 3:30. I know the newsletter, I mean, not 3:30, 6:30. Relaine, would you like to tell us a little about the class and confirm the time?
Sure. Thank you, Reverend Leslie. Yes, the class is like a workshop, and it'll be this Tuesday and the following Tuesday. And it does start at 6:30, you're correct, and it will go till 7:45. So look forward to anyone who'd like to come. We're going to be working on meditation with resistance and forgiveness and some visioning. So I think it'll be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Relaine. And then on November 16th and the 21st, I am going to be facilitating a book review on Out of This World by Neville Goddard. And what that book is about is imagination and how it works in your life, and tips on using that. Okay. And are there any other announcements? Okay, and I think we're ready for our benediction, Lisa.
Just unmuting. Okay, so let's pull together with a nice deep breath and a contemplation of all the wonderful messages that we have heard this morning. I'm so grateful and joyful at this reminder of our oneness and our individuality. The fact that we each have a different way of seeing things, and yet that is irrelevant when it comes to who we really are and how we really connect to the divine, and that space within us that is the silent whisperer of our life. And so I release my words and this service into the law, knowing that it has been a wonderful service and a perfect contribution to our own each and every evolution of consciousness. And so I release by saying, and so it is.
Thank you,
you,
Rita.
Rita.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just
Just
before,
before,
let's
let's
see.
see,
Can
can
you
you
just
just
a
a
second,
second,
Richard?
Richard?
I'm
I'm
giving
giving
you feedback.
feedback.
Just
Just
one
one
second.
second.
I wanted to say to everyone, Richard's song, I just called to say, I love you. I want each of you, before you turn on the TV tonight, go to the phone, make a call. Maybe it's a long lost cousin or a friend you haven't seen in a long time. Just give somebody a call and say hi. You don't have to say, I love you, but you can say, I've been thinking about you. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to end with the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With love as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me, with we. Peace on earth.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I
And I
have
have
one,
one
one more.
more.
Let's
Let's
say
say
this together. I'll mute and let's say this. Till we meet again, let us go in the light